Okay, this one is simplifying a radical that has an odd exponent. I did one earlier that was an even exponent. If you haven't seen that one, you might want to go and watch that one first and then come back to this one. In the even one, I showed you the shortcut where all you have to do is divide by 2. Unfortunately, 2 only divides into even numbers. This one is odd. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down into two radicals. X to the 15th, that is the same thing as x to the 14 plus 1. And if you remember that rule that says x to the a times x to the b is x to the a plus b, I can literally take this x to the 14 plus 1 and split it up to be x to the 14 times x to the 1. Then for this guy, I can use the shortcut where you just divide by 2. So if I take the square root of x to the 14th, that's going to be x to the 14 divided by 2 is 7. And I no longer have a radical there. Unfortunately, this guy, I can't take the square root of x to the first, so I just leave it as the square root of x to the invisible one. And this is my answer that I'll type in right here. So just to do another one with you real quick, let's say I gave you the square root of x to the 7th. I would break that down to be the square root of x to the 6th times the square root of x to the 1st, because 6 plus 1 is 7. And then you can take the square root of x to the 6th, this guy right here, the square root of x to the 6th would be x to the 3rd. Unfortunately, this guy you can't take the square root of, so you would just leave it as the square root of x. So your answer is x cubed times the square root of x. And then just one more. If I gave you the square root of x to the 23rd, I would break that down to be the square root of x to the 22nd times the square root of x to the 1st. And then the square root of x to the 22nd would be x to the 11th times the square root of x. You're always going to have a little bit left over under the radical. You can get part of it out from under the radical, but the x has to stay behind. So, and there you go.